and gentlemen, and welcome to Polyhedron Collider live at Airecon.
Wow.
I'm Steve Tudor.
I'm John Cage.
And I'm Andy Lewis.
And unfortunately, Rory's not with us this time. He'd
No.
like to be, but he's not.
No, the office junior was left at home.
Yeah.
Someone's got to man the ivory tower.
I feel like we should still get him to check his mic, though, just in case. You guys are recording, right?
I'm definitely recording, yeah.
Steve's recording me, it's okay.
Andy's such a loudmouth, I'm catching him on here.
Do you know, I probably could have stayed at home this time and just broadcast from my house.
Yeah.
So yeah, you made it here.
I did. Uneventfully, actually. There was nothing at all that got in the way.
You messaged us on Friday to say, so, I'm on the M1, ... And Steve and I both replied with, oh God, what is it? Who have you hit? Who's dead? Is the car okay? Are the board games okay? But fortunately, you made it.
I did, yes, hurrah. And you fell for my ruse. Ha 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 ha.
We were worried.
Were you?
But yeah, we were actually, yeah. The fact that, yeah, because when you first... Well, just we didn't want to do the podcast as the two of us again. That was...
Just spread the load.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right, John, you're the one with the show notes. You've done more prep than Steve and I put together.
Yeah, I spent 5 minutes before the show putting something together. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for coming along. You've braved the viruses and all the other stuff that's outdoors to make it here to our lovely podcast. I'm assuming this is the reason that you came to Airecon, right? Was so that you could come to the live... No, she's secondary. I mean, that's a bonus, right?
Right, well, we were going to do some work for this, weren't we?
Really?
Well,
That's not normal.
well, I think we're going to outsource this, crowdsource it, and start with questions, because for anyone, obviously, you all listen to us, you know what we're like. We can take 15 minutes to even ask a question before we get to the answer. So, does anyone have any questions before we even do anything?
We got any latest DIY stories?
Do we have any latest DIY stories? Does that have to include Dunelm or not?
Oh no, we're saving them because Rory's just moved house. One of the reasons why Rory hasn't been on the podcast for a few weeks is he's moved house and he's waiting for the internet to get sorted and for his desk to get sorted so he can get the microphone set up. Because what we all try and do is actually have the podcast kit more or less set up all the time. Because if you don't, it's a faff to try and connect everything up and find the anti-reflective stuff and all that. So as soon as Rory's back, we're going to have a special Dunelm episode.
We are having a new kitchen soon, so...
Oh yeah, we'll hit all about that, yeah. Andy and tiles, that'll be fun. An actual live tile placement game.
It's going to be
It's a legacy game as well.
It's going to be watching paint dry, right?
Probably. There'll be a lot of swearing.
We're currently moving where I do the podcasting and D&D stuff and all that kind of thing into our spare room, ready to have a nursery at the front of our house. So I'm going to have even less time to do this kind of stuff with you guys, I'm afraid. Or, you know, it'll all be fine. I mean, having kids, it's easy, right? Everyone says that. No one laughs when I say, yeah, we'll have loads of spare time. Kaz will just look after our little one and I'll be free to podcast and D&D to my heart's content. And there it is again.
I can just see the look in Kaz's eyes.
Just shaking her head.
You're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, probably.
I don't think we have done any DIY at the moment. I mean, I've got a lot of upcoming DIY, kitchen notwithstanding. I've discovered all the work I did in the garden last year has been washed away by the slight amount of rain we've had in the last 6 months. So anyone who wants to buy Ron Seal outdoor paint, don't bother. It washes off in 6 months, despite the 5-year guarantee.
Well, to put it into context, though, you do live in Bewdley.
True.
Which it's been on the news quite a lot because it's been underwater.
Yeah, we renamed it recently to New Atlantis.
Bewdley on sea rather than...
It really was. The River Severn runs through it, and the river rose 5.5 metres during the heavy bits. Yeah, people were sadly evacuated from their homes.
It's a good job you're quite far up the hill.
Yes, we live up the hill, so we can look down upon these peasants and not care. It's fine.
Oh dear. So I've got a question for you guys.
Uh-oh.
I've been toying around with running a new 5e D&D campaign, Team of Annihilation, involving you guys. And if you guys aren't being the DM, that means I need to step up to the plate. So, do you guys have any advice for me?
Yeah, don't do it.
As a new DM, assuming that you do want to play some more D&D.
Definitely, yes. Oh, God.
God's a good one.
You can never prep too much.
Yeah.
Which would mean you'll have loads of spare time to be able to do it.
I mean, it'll be fine, right? Loads of time, right, Kaz? Yeah, she's nodding or shaking her head, something like that.
So kind of a nodding, shaking.
I'd like to think that if you're awake in the middle of the night anyway, then you could probably do some prep while you're holding a small human. It only takes one hand, right?
It's an admirable goal.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say is, you can prep as much as you want, but no adventure survives contact with the players.
It's very true. I mean, you've seen the adventures that we go in. You've seen the Masters of Fate.
Yeah, but what I don't see is how much prep you guys have done behind the scene that you actually end up using when I'm in a campaign that you're running.
The simplest advice I'd heard elsewhere, and I keep forgetting to do it myself actually, is get a scrap piece of paper and write down a bunch of random names on it. Because you will guarantee to come up with some inconsequential character, like a librarian or a shopkeeper or something like that. And the players will straight away go, what's his name? You think he's only supposed to be here for 5 seconds, I haven't given him a name. And then before you know it, he's the star of the show. Everyone wants to be next to this person, and you just had him as an inconsequential.
Okay, so some random names.
Yeah.
Don't do too much prep, but do have plenty of prep.
There's no such thing as too much. You'll never well, the thing is, you will use it, but you'll not use it in the session you think you're going to use it. You'll use it 3 sessions later when the adventurers get to the bit that you're expecting them to get 3 sessions ago.
So the advice is don't throw away your notes, is what you're saying?
Yes, pretty much. You will always use the stuff, even if you kind of shoehorn it in later on, because god damn it, you'll use this because you prepped it.
I've prepped this, I'm going to use it.
But otherwise, yeah. And you'll also find with the pre-written ones, which obviously 2 mil alienation is, you will find weird things in it. Like, the logic of the book is not the logic of sane people, or even insane people. Because it'll assume that the adventurers will look at like a vase on the floor and want to do something weird with it. Like turn it upside down and do a maybe jig, and for that they'll get +1 to their inspiration for the rest of the day. Like, who does that? Why would you do that instead of just opening the door and moving on?
Why
no.
would they think to do that?
Precisely. Yes. It's nonsense. But anyway, they'll do that.
And the book will also assume that the players are not as clever as your players.
Right.
Because there'll be bits in the book, because it's a pre-written book, and it goes, of course, by now the players will have worked out that the main villain is a dragon in disguise. No. No, they won't.
When in reality, the players are actually struggling to understand the names of their own party.
I can't help feeling this is a slightly pointed comment. That you're maybe suggesting that a certain party that I've been involved with may have taken the entire campaign to work that out, when we should have had it, 50% of the way through?
Yeah, about a year ago in real time, yeah. Well, it's been a good, interesting training session. I've learned a lot as a DM from you guys playing.
Yes, and in doing Tyranny of Dragons, I have learned a lot as well.
The weird thing is, well, we don't play in person because we're kind of scattered all over the place. We play on Roll20. And so with Roll20, it requires a different kind of prep as if you're doing it in person. So if you want to do like a combat encounter, if you do it in person, you could probably just like whack out a piece of paper with a grid, some squares on it, grab some random miniatures. Oh yeah, that miniature there's a hooligan, that one's a dragon, whatever. But because we did it in Roll20, I have become almost lightning fast at grabbing a map off some random corner on the internet and building an encounter while you guys are deciding how you're approaching this one point. There was a point like a few weeks back where you went off to like some beach somewhere, and the book, because it was, again, we're on book, there's nothing in the book about this area at all. So I had to quickly knock something together, grab this random map of the beach, yes, stick it into Roll20, upload, come on.
And there we were thinking you were ignoring us, just sat there looking down at the desk. Eventually they'll work out what they want to do. Give them half an hour.
Yeah. That's about right.
Has anyone else out there got some advice for a new DM? No. Good luck, okay.
Are you planning on putting us a podcast as well?
Yeah, so we did the Twitch stream, and then the intention.
Well, they're ready. Like, they're all recorded. They just need a little bit of editing and some uploading.
But a few people requested it in podcast format because they like to listen to them in work, and most people's works block YouTube, which is what we're watching it, and apparently they all block Twitch apparently. So yeah, we're going to we're finishing off the D&D campaign now, and then we're going to take a bit of a palate cleanser. So I think we're going to play Modifius have actually sent us some PDFs of some games, and Free League, and I've sent us a couple as well. So we're going to do some little sessions, and I'm going to use that as a way to test out putting them in the podcast. It'll probably be in the main podcast feed, but it won't be like episode 79. It'll be, I'll call it a different title, so you can straight away, if you're not interested, you can just swipe it out. And I'm going to take more than a hint off the Glass Cannon podcast, because they cut them down to about an hour. So unlike Critical Role, which are like 4 or 5 hour long episodes, Glass Cannon just do like an hour at a time. And I realised that because the way we tend to play, I reckon we can record 2 sessions in one gaming session. So yeah, I'll probably do that.
Tried to in the more recent ones, which haven't and won't air for a little while, in the session from the Storm King's Thunder, we've been trying to call out the dice rolls a bit more, but it takes some real conscious effort, because normally we're either delighted or deeply saddened as to what's just gone horribly wrong, or brilliantly. No, the first one, horribly wrong, that's it, yep. Yeah, cool.
Like Arrakis being beaten up by darkness. For 4 rounds. You'd think a character with +9 charisma would be able to make a basic charisma check, but no.
Not when you're rolling, Andy.
No, not when I'm rolling.
Even virtually.
On a tangent, did you see the demo of Baldur's Gate 3?
Yes.
No. But they're basically building it completely on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, to the point where that D20 roll comes up all the time. So you can fail basic checks in the game, and it can completely derail your game, apparently. So it's not going to be like a normal video game. It's going to be more like playing D&D, where things are going to happen. You're going to roll badly, and that's it. That quest line's gone, because you've just annoyed that person.
It doesn't matter how stealthy you are. If you step on that twig and there's a snapping noise, something will hear it, and it'll come running.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it looks like fun.
Annoying, but awesome.
I quite like the fact that the tech demo went horribly, horribly wrong. So he's supposed to run through this area and save a few bits and pieces and kill a load of stuff off, and he gets murdered. He has to do it again, and he's like to the audience, we can just skip through this, right? You don't want to see that again. They're like, no, do it again. We want to see you die a second time. He's like, okay, well, this time I'll do it properly. And then there's a nervous point where he very nearly stuffs it a second time. It's brilliant.
I mean, that's a good GM advice. Don't have anything which hinges on a single dice roll.
Yes.
To complete the event, like always have another couple of ways they can achieve it.
Yeah.
Even if they do so, like minus an arm or half their stuff, that's fine.
Yeah, penalise them,
Yeah.
but allow it to still continue the plot. That sounds like good advice.
That happened a lot in your Tiamat fight.
Yeah.
Background.
Yeah, there was a lot of DM fudging, I sensed. I mean, we did nearly die many times.
Yeah, there was a modicum of Deus Ex, but not that badly. It was okay. Here's a question. So go on.
It wasn't too obvious, that's the main thing. I think as a player, it's always a bit frustrating when you really feel like everything's on rails, and you're either being handheld all the way through it, or it's just like, no, you can't go through that way. But I want to open that door.
Spend half an hour investigating the door. There's some runes at the top. They're just fluff, for goodness sake.
It was a throwaway comment. I wish I'd never said it.
Here's a question for you all. Does anyone want to particularly hear our opinion on a particular game? Not necessarily right now, but for the future. I mean, right now maybe, but is there anything that we haven't touched upon in any of the podcasts recently or in any of the written reviews? Because I know Rory's been doing most of our written work at the moment. But is there any sort of hot stuff that you want us to look at or comment on in the near future?
Play many big games like TI4 or some 6-hour plus games.
Ah, you see, I can't get them to play it. I'd love to play them. They refuse. I've got TI3 with both expansions. I've played it once in 3 years.
You're wrong. We don't refuse to play it. We don't find the time.
Does anyone here want to play with Andy?
Please play with me.
If anyone's got it here, I mean, it's now 2:30, so you could probably just about finish a game by
Finish
1
by
o'clock
midnight,
tonight.
yeah. It's only it's a 9-hour game. It's not that long.
4.5 hours and 6 players yesterday.
4.5?
Wow, that's pretty good.
If you've not played before, you probably won't last long.
No.
God, no. I mean, it makes most games of Warhammer 40k seem pretty long.
I struggle to find the time to play any kind of long game at the moment. I mean, we were even saying the other day, I was speaking to my friend Adam comes over and I go to his on a weeknight. Because due to the restrictions on a weeknight, you've got to get back from work, get have some food, and you've got to finish at a reasonable time so that you get some sleep. And we managed to play it on Mars this week, and we did it in 2.5 hours, which I thought was impressive.
You guys did.
Yeah. That was kind of like, me and Adam played pretty damn quick. And we're thinking, we can't get any more games like this in. We can't get anything any more complicated. And we realised, and I think we were, what's the Viking one? The Tetris Vikings. Feast for Odin, that's the one.
Tetris Vikings. I like the fact you got shorthand for all these games.
That is a bit too long. We find that takes about 3 to 3.5 hours to play a full game. And the amount of times we've kind of got like 2 turns before the end and looked at the time and gone, oh crap, I need to go now because it's gone 10 o'clock and I need to still drive home. Like, oh, right, okay, we're going to have to call it now. So I don't think I've actually played a full game of...
No, we had to call it when I was over as well, because we created Ragusa in 45 minutes. That was an impressive feat, because we all just played, and it's not a long game, it's really good. But yeah, then we decided to play Feast for Odin after that, and I think we got about halfway through before we called it. Because that was, it's big. And it makes Caverna look light.
Needs to get me playing some of these soon.
You do?
I mean, we played Paladins earlier today, and you were the one taking the long time.
That's because I had 15 meeples and you lot had 4.
Run out of stuff to do.
Yes, I was struggling to find places to put them. And I still didn't win, damn it.
So we literally took that game from the library last night, took it all out, 24-page rulebook, right, crack on. Hour and a half later, we put it all back in the box. And
See, I don't get out of bed for less than 20 pages.
Is that you'd given up trying to read through it to learn the rules?
heading for the end of the night, we were like about to kick us out of here, so we're like, well, we thought we could easily play because it just looks like Raiders of the North Sea, nice and simple, half an hour, an hour.
No.
Not enough.
No.
I don't know, I said I've learnt on Mars last week, so now everything just feels like a really simple, straightforward game. What do you mean I just put a worker there and get a resource? Where's that hit? I can do that.
Where are the other 5 things I kick off?
Yeah.
So have you two both made it all the way through a full game of On Mars now?
3 games.
I only play it 2-player though, so I've not played it with more. So for those who don't know, On Mars is a big, heavy, and in both physical and complexity game from Vital Lacerda. It should really be called Terraforming Mars, but someone else already got that name. And you're basically building a colony on Mars, so you're traveling from space to the planet, and you're building mines, then habitats, water extractors, oxygen extractors, plants, and other things. And there's this big cycle in there. It's definitely the most complex game I own. I don't know about you at this point.
Guys, I went all in, obviously, and got 5 of them. So yeah, On Mars, Venos, Galerist, Escape Plan, and Lisboa all in one go. So the box was 2 boxes in fact. I've stacked them. They formed one Jon.
With a bit of photoshopping.
Yes.
Cheeky sods.
Yes, but it is one of the heaviest games I've got now. TI is reasonably complex, but less of a brain burner.
Right.
There's more happens in TI, I think, in the long term, but on Mars it's more concentrated.
Yeah.
There's more to think about.
Well, I've only played it fully once. I've played a solo game of it, and I've also tried to play it 2-handed. Although the solo rules are just as bloody complicated as well.
I haven't even tried them. I looked at them and went, no!
No. But as I said, me and Adam finished this game, and we both kind of went, right, that's it. I do not want another heavy game. That's it. That's my limit. I don't want anything more complicated than this. And I think I'm going to go play Carcassonne or something now because my brain's dribbling out my ears.
I'm going to play Draftosaurus.
Yeah, we played could have played Draftosaurus. Yeah.
That's 5 minutes, that's good, yes. Now, I've still got Venos. I haven't made it all the way through the rule book for that yet. That's hefty.
We did actually play Draftosaurus earlier today.
Yeah, we played it just before we started here, actually, didn't we?
Did anyone else here played that one?
Yeah.
Really, really simple little game. You got a bag of dinosaurs, you got a little board, and you got little pens, and you got to populate them with either lots of the same dinosaurs, different dinosaurs, pairs of dinosaurs that fall in love. What are the other ones? A few of the sort of restrictions that you have to meet, and so you just take it in turns to grab a dinosaur, stick it on your board, hand the rest of them to the next person. You go around in circles like that until you run out of dinosaurs. Do that over a couple of rounds, and whoever's got the most points wins. Dead simple, takes about 5 minutes, 10 minutes to play.
10 minutes, yeah.
10 minutes including kind of distributing the dinosaurs in the first place. And it's just a fun little filler game. Very much the other end of the scale to something like On Mars.
It's got little dinosaur meeples as well. So if you've ever played like Dinosaur Island, they're all like that as well. And you're actually fishing. You're not drafting them like cards. You're drafting them by fishing them out of a bag and handing this handful of meeples around the table. So it's got a little more. Because I thought it's similar to say like Sushi Go, which is a similar kind of drafting game, but that's just cards. But at least this, you've got this little tactile thing and this little decision about where you put everything.
It's probably not the best thing to play at a convention with people when you're worried about coronavirus, mind you, because you are handing things around.
Oh yeah, if you keep them in your hand for a little while as well, you get like nice little sweaty dinosaurs. There you go.
I'm not saying it's not without its downsides, but you know.
It's fine. It is. It is a good little game. And how much was it? About a tenner? 15 quid?
In French.
It's another one of our games that we've accidentally ordered in another language. Happens way too often. Like, there's nothing on Amazon that says it's in a particular language, so you just assume, right? And then it turns up and it's the third copy of Spice Road in a different language, and you're like...
Well, we got no German, English, Spanish and Italian.
And we don't have the best language skills. I mean, English is tricky.
We've done well there. That's good. What else have we been messing around with?
Well, while you guys went to bed early, Steve and I stayed up and played some games last night.
What was that?
We played Santorini. It's a new one for me.
I played that, I got that, yeah.
I think most people have played Santorini by now, haven't they? Probably. Yeah.
We played Onitama.
I think it's Onitama. So that's the. Anyone else played Onitama? So that's the kind of chess-like game where you've got, rather than the pieces all having different movement types, you've got cards, and you pass the card onto the player as you use them. So it's not just about a case of what move do you use to get where you want to be. You've also got to be careful. Once you've used that move, you've got to hand it to your opponent, which means they've now got that move. So sometimes you're doing the move which denies the opposition. Like the one we had last night was you just move straight forward a space, which meant everything else was diagonal. So of course everyone's moving at diagonal, and I'm holding on to this one card because I know if I give it to John, I'm screwed. So keep on hold of it as long as possible. But little chess-like game that takes what? Half an hour at most?
Yeah, we were sat there with our heads in our hands for about half an hour.
Yeah.
So there must be a way around this. There must be a way out of this diabolical situation. No, Steve has got me banged to rights again. Damn it. I know I was being quite smug that I was going to win. Yeah, it's a fun little one. I like the fact that, unlike chess, it's not that each different piece has different moves. All of the pieces can make any of those moves that you're passing around.
Do they have special powers as well?
No.
All right, so they're just there for prettiness.
Yeah, it is.
You might as well just have four.
The one in the middle is a king.
Right.
So you've got to either take out the opposing king or get your king. I think it's actually emperor rather than king. But you've got to either take it out of the oppositions or move your emperor into the throne room, which is basically the middle space at the back. So move the king all the way forward. So there's two ways of winning.
Okay, I see. Oh, interesting. All right.
I thought I was going to win in both ways several times, and then you just skirted round it, and some... like, oh no, I hadn't seen that one. Rats. Oh no.
Have you guys played TAC?
No, it sounds...
Which one's TAC? Is that the one based on the Name of the Wind?
Oh, that's the one, yes. That's good. I don't know if they've got it here, but I'm trying to buy it. It's about 50 quid. It's outrageously expensive, so you might as well make your own. All you have... Seriously, all it is little bits of wood and a little pawn. You might as well just use a chess set pawn. And a chessboard. But you can change the size of the board depending on how long you want the game to go. So you can play 3x3 or 8x8. If you play an 8x8, you're asking for basically kiss goodbye to your day. And all you're doing is trying to make a row. It's almost like blockbusters, where you're trying to make a connection between one end and the other, from either one side to the other or front to back, and it doesn't really matter how you do it. But the idea is you've got bricks, and you make these little towers, and you can put these little tiles on a square, and on your move you just put one of these things down. That's it. And the person with their colour at the top of the pile controls that square. So if you control all the squares between one side and the other, you win the game. But you have, what you can also do is put your tiles on the side. So they effectively stop anything happening on that tile from then on.
Yeah.
Because it's like essentially a wall. So you can't use it, you can't move it, you can't go anywhere. And you have a pawn, which is essentially like a builder. So he comes along and he can break the wall down. So you can put him down, just kick the wall over and basically carry on. And it's essentially a game of tete-a-tete. You know, you make a move, they make a move, and of course it's like chess, you can do that. But it's really, 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 really good. But I cannot find it for less than £45. It's insanely
It's always
expensive.
galling when lots of other people have had the same idea about trying to acquire this stuff on eBay, and so the prices are astronomical. Like that one last expansion on Talisman that I don't have, even I can't justify spending that much. It's too much. 145. I could get Batman. Steve,
you see.
Steve was suggesting that I buy Batman Talisman just earlier, and I was pointing out that it's Batman, so it's your game to buy, Steve. And then you'll own a game of Talisman.
Oh, are you looking at the Batman animated series Kickstarter?
No.
Are you not?
I'm just not looking at anything Batman related on Kickstarter.
Maybe I should spam you a few links.
No.
Is he weak?
Yes.
Yes. Not as bad as you.
Excellent.
I've already spent this money, I haven't got any left.
What'd you spend it on? Handbags, boots, wine,
Board games.
Disney, yeah, obviously. Yeah, I've only got 2 live ones at the moment. Viscount, obviously, of West Kingdom, because that has to be done. And the Who Goes There version 2.
Okay.
You guys haven't played that yet, have you?
No.
Don't think so.
No. I was going to, but I didn't, because it's massive and I couldn't be asked.
I thought I persuaded you to take all of the big
Oh,
board.
you thought, yeah.
It was a good game that Steve and I were having to try and persuade him to get everything that was massive.
This close to bringing Deep Madness, I really was. But no, I thought no, it will actually take up the entire boot of the car, so no.
We were thinking if you actually made it, you were going to come in with like a pallet truck. Forklift truck.
No, not happening. But no, it's very, very good. It's a game like, it's a bit like Battlestar.
Right.
In the sense that, you know, somebody is going to be bad. But unlike Battlestar or Dead of Winter, there isn't a bad guy at the start of the game. You're all cooperating at the start of the game. And at some point later, the paranoia will get greater and greater. There's a little small deck of cards, and one of the 12 has the mark of Cain on it, as it were. And so when you do something that makes you vulnerable, like you go outside and encounter a beastie, or you sleep on your own, you'll draw one of these cards. And eventually the deck will wear through, because there's absolutely no way in hell you'll get through the game without it getting through. So once they're all out, of course, someone must be it, but you don't know who it is. So of course, somebody with more cards in front of them is more likely, but not necessarily. So the paranoia just grows and grows, and the feeling of it is absolutely fantastic. It's so good.
Is that one based on the Thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or based on the story that the Thing is based off?
Yeah, the novella is called Who Goes There, so yes. And I genuinely think it's actually better than The Thing, the board game. Right. Because that's just essentially Resistance with miniatures.
How does it compare to something like Battlestar Galactica, which is another hidden traitor kind of...
It's different. It's similar but different, because, as I say, you all start... with Battlestar, you know someone is a bad guy right from the start. Yeah. Whereas in Who Goes There, you know there's nobody. Well... There have to be. There's a Cylon out.
Not if you forget to put the Cylons in the deck.
Depends whether you want to spice it up, right, Steve?
And the interesting thing is, somebody forgot to put the Cylons in the deck, and the Cylons still won. What? Because the level of paranoia was through the roof, because at the point when there should have been 2 Cylon cards, there was still no Cylon cards, so everyone thought that everyone else was lying. You must be a Cylon! You must be... Get him out of the airlock!
We'd already flushed you well out of the airlock ages before that.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows I'm a terrible liar, so, you know, as soon as I've got a Cylon card, everyone just knows, Steve's a Cylon.
Dolores like that. She goes bright pink. It's really funny. She hates playing games like that because of that. It's really funny.
What's the one when you've got to lie, it's like a quick game, you've got to lie? Is it Coup?
Coup, yeah.
I'm terrible at Coup, because as soon as I say, I can't remember the name of the character, but I've got this character, and everyone else goes, no, you haven't, Steve. Oh, Secret Hitler, yeah.
I've not played that yet. It's supposed to be really good. But of course there was controversy about the name. But historical accuracy.
To be fair, I've seen, has everyone played Secret Hitler? It's actually, I've seen some like reskins of it that some of the people have done, like Secret Voldemort and Secret Palpatine, and I actually think they suit the mechanics of the game better, because the idea was someone is Hitler but no one knows who Hitler is.
But Hitler's quite a well-known figure.
Yeah, he was quite,
Prolific for a few years, yes.
But then Palpatine was pretty... People knew about him.
Yeah, but they didn't know he was a Sith Lord.
No, true. That is true.
Well, not to start with.
No.
There was a turning point, though.
Indeed. They gave it away.
Spoilers!
Oops. Anyone else got any questions?
So what have you actually brought with you to play this weekend?
Oh, goodness, right. Well, Steve hasn't brought anything.
I brought a couple of games, but every time I come to like a convention and bring games, I play less than 10% of what I brought with me. So I'm bringing less and less and less. I think we come to Airecon next year, and I'm just going to bring one game, and that's me it. I'm still not playing, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Jon and I are doing the heavy lifting this week, literally.
Yeah, I brought Endeavour with me, which I will endeavour to play at some point.
Doors there, mate.
But we've got a few. Someone was saying to me the other day that why do you take so many games to a convention, especially when there's a great board game library like there is at this one? And I always answer that, well, there's some specific games that I would like to play. I don't expect to play all of them, but at least I've got a load of options that I can pick from.
That's exactly the reason I bring so many as well. Because you never know what mood you're going to be in and how it takes you.
I do think that my collection is more realistic, that we might actually play them, and that none of them require 5 hours.
None of mine do. I haven't brought any super heavy Euros with. Well, I brought Aggro.
You brought Aggro, Barrage, and Pipeline.
Barrage is 2 hours. Pipeline is about an hour and a half. Aggro, admittedly, is about 3 hours. But I've brought Too Many Bones because you asked for that.
I did.
You might have been taking the piss, but I don't care. It's a great game.
I would also like to play that one. So
that can take a good couple of hours, depending on the campaign you choose. I brought Arkham Horror. So that's the afternoon gone.
Well, it's 3rd edition though, isn't it?
3rd edition. Kaz wants to play it anyway, so we're going to be playing that later. It is 3rd edition, which I haven't actually played a full game of yet. No. I've set the first scenario up and played about half of it, and then realised that 3 portals were there and only had 2 people. I thought, okay. I'll put it away again.
we've been invited to play Nemesis with James Tomlin from Defection fame.
I was going to bring it with me.
I'm sure.
Boxes, no.
I think they've got a copy, or it's definitely in the library. So
We're really sure that it's such a good. Anyone played Nemesis? Yeah.
it's like a sneak around aliens kind of game.
Really.
Which on the surface of it, you all seem like you're working towards a common goal, like fix the engines, make sure that the ship's on par for heading to Earth, and there's another condition as well. You all need to make it back in to your hibernation pods before the hyperdrive goes, otherwise you become a greasy smear on the back plate of the deck. But you've all got secret objectives as well. So you've all got something like, I don't know, you have to make sure that all the aliens are dead, or you have to try and get an alien home. So you have to make sure that one of the other crewmates is infected before you get back on. It really is like Aliens.
I think it's one of the best semi-co-op games I've ever played. It's so good like that, because not only do you get potentially a choice of 2 secret missions, you get kind of like a personal one, or you get a corporate one. And you get to choose whichever one it is, but you don't get it at the start of the game. You get the 2 cards, but you don't actually get to choose which ones they are until a Gribbly turns up, and then you get to choose. So it could be quite some time before anything actually happens. And by that time, obviously stuff could have happened during the game to shape your decision, as it were.
Third of the game or so, I would say, most people are sort of roughly all working together. And then as the game goes on, you gradually start to see there's something not quite right with Andy. Why is it that whenever
That's a normal game, that.
let's march in there, Andy, and let's smash through that door and we'll kill those aliens? Like, yeah, great idea, John.
Job.
Fa-dung. Why's the door gone down? I need to get out.
Why is there a large alien in front of me? Yes. Last time I played, actually, I was trying to play a solo game and ran all the way through. It was doing quite well until drew the Queen. Actually, the Queen. Bang, there. It's like, game over.
How does a solo game work with that? Because it's a game which, as you said, but the fun parts of that game are the fact that everyone's got a different objective.
There's solo objectives, so most of them are kind of like, get the engines working and get out, or shoot us a Gribbly, or take an egg with you for study, stuff like that. So you're still running around the ship, and most of the mechanics are the same, but you can buy additional actions. So if you make a bit more noise, you can do a bit more on your go.
Right.
Which is totally worth doing. until you get a queen. So it's broadly the same, but yeah, it doesn't have the same level of tension between the players because they aren't there, but the level of tension within the game is slightly higher because you get further through the map, because there's a bit of exploration in it for those of you who don't know. There's a load of tiles that you end up turning over, which shapes essentially the rooms in the ship change every time you play because you deal them out. And so you're doing a lot of exploration, which is all good and fun. You think, yay, I can find most of the rooms, and that's one of my objectives. Oh, there's something in front of me. And then it goes south very, very quickly because you've only got like one guy and he's got a pistol.
What could go wrong? It'll be fine.
Yeah, it's a very, very good game. Actually, because Nemesis came out last year before last-ish.
Yes.
Yeah, end of 2018, let's put it that way. And of course, there was also Lifeform, which came out as well. Has anyone played that? No? Ah, well. That's more like Alien, whereas Nemesis is more like Aliens. So Nemesis is more shooty, bang, bang, and you can defend yourself, whereas in Lifeform, you absolutely can't. You are, 5 schlubs on a ship, there's a Gribbly running around, and you cannot hurt it at all. So that's a one versus many game. So one guy is definitely trying to hurt you, and the rest of you are just basically trying to sort of stock up the escape pod as quickly as possible, and then get the hell out of Dodge. The feeling of the game is very different, because you very much are a team against one thing, but it's still bloody difficult, and it's really good, especially if you're the alien player and you have vindictive nature.
Good job there's none of us in the Polyhedron Collider.
No, we're all friendly and cuddly. What was it David Turksey said, that we are nasty?
Yeah, we played the demo of Venice at UK Games Expo, and when the designer of the game is shocked by how vicious we are to each other, you know you're doing something right.
I didn't even know you could be that horrible to another person, let alone in this game.
And David has a reputation of making kind of, I wouldn't say nasty games, but games where it is encouraged to be a bit selfish.
That's because he hates co-ops, isn't it?
Yes.
He doesn't like co-ops, so he doesn't design co-ops. He says they're fundamentally well. In one of his famous rants he had, I think it was at Gaming Rules, he basically talked at me for half an hour. And he was saying how co-op games are rubbish because they're all fundamentally broken because someone can work out the puzzle. Okay. So I hate them, right. So I'm designing one next.
Wait, what? This is the same David Turksey who saw straight through Tapestry.
Yeah, that was terrifying.
We played Tapestry with him. Me, Steve and Kaz played Tapestry with him. And by the end of the game, I think he'd lapped me twice.
Yeah. It was three turns in and he actually went, I've solved it now.
Yeah, I can see through this game. I know all the stuff that I need to do for the next 5 moves. You guys crack on and I'll just drop in and win. The annoying thing was he did. It's too good.
I can't do Tapestry. I don't get why or how people can do so well. I do actually worse. Every time I play, I get progressively worse. I just give up. I can't do it. I even played a solo game of that, with essentially just playing with all the rules, and just with me on my own, so I get all of the benefits of all of the tracks and everything like that, and I still didn't do as well as David Turksey did against you three.
It's because you need 3 schmucks to play off, to take advantage of. If you're just playing against yourself, maybe.
Couldn't do it.
Right, probably got time for one last question.
What is the game that you love the most, but you are terrible at it?
Love the most, but are terrible at? Ooh. I keep saying Solken.
It's a bit of a cop-out.
I keep saying Solken, because I don't think I am very good at it. But then every time I play it, I do quite well, so I can't have that.
You never win at Dice Hospital.
That's true. I don't love Dice Hospital.
I do love Dice Hospital,
You always do really well.
Well, no, I seem to be getting worse. Every time I teach it now, I do worse at it. So that I need to re-tap whatever it was that I was thinking of when I first played it. Don't know what I'm doing differently.
Innocent naivety.
Maybe, yeah. It's just random chance rather than careful strategy, which isn't very good.
It's rather topical, but Pandemic. I'm terrible at Pandemic, and I have extremely bad luck.
Yes.
A game which has very little luck-driven, yeah. You see my profile picture on Facebook, yeah. A game which is largely not luck-driven, and I get terrible luck. It's like...
No. We get the terrible luck because you draw all the bloody epidemic cards.
And you bring it on all of us.
Yeah, the chances of 2 epidemic cards being next to each other in the deck is really, really quite slim. Yeah, I did it 2 games in a row where you draw 2 cards and I draw 2 epidemic cards.
Yeah. When we tried to play through Pandemic Legacy, it took, I reckon, 2 or 3 times as long as most people would try to do it, because pretty much every single month we failed the first time. And it was mostly because just at the critical point, you're like, as long as Steve doesn't draw an epidemic card at this point, we're going to be fine. And Steve's face drops. Just once, Steve.
Sorry.
Have any of you lot played Panda Leg 2 yet?
No.
No, I've got it. I need to open it, but I'm saving it for a different group.
Has anyone here made it all the way through? You have? Yeah.
Is the second one as good as the first? No spoilers.
No spoilers. It's difficult. The second one, in the group that I played, we really love it because there are a couple of twists in the story that you would not expect it, but they are more closer to the end than to the beginning.
Yeah.
In the first one, there was something happening every so many months. Like the pace was different. But I started the second one with 2 different groups, and it depends on which parts you start exploring. They are very different games.
Okay, right, yeah, because Panda Leg 1, for anyone who hasn't played it, is very much like, obviously, the regular game, but they add a few bits to it that they've been hinted by the expansion, so things like On the Brink and In the Lab, you can tell they've been influenced by those things. So I'm not going to tell you what happens because it would ruin it, but it is probably the best Legacy game I've played so far, actually.
I quite like the fact that you've got characters that you name in the game and they continue throughout unless something bad happens to them halfway through the game.
And one of the diseases, COVID-19.
Yeah, getting to name the disease is quite good. Yeah, it's a fun game, but I think we got a bit burned out by it by the end of we got, what was it, August, September or something?
No, we got to October. Yeah, we worked out that we were at September and we said, right, 3 more games, we can finish this. We just got to do October, November, December, we're done. We failed September. Twice. So that was the first one. Then we went to October because you only can do it twice, each month twice, and failed October twice. So we have 3 games and we were still potentially 2 more games away from ending the campaign.
And we would have been.
Yeah.
At least 4.
I think we'd got to the point where the game had just collapsed to this point where we were really struggling to keep control. Yeah.
Yeah, the moral of that story is don't ask us 3 to look after an international crisis.
Sound advice.
Yes. But I played it with a different group, with a few friends of ours in Wolverhampton. We did finish the first campaign, and it is very good.
Okay.
There's a rumour of a 3rd season, isn't there?
Yes, there's been a rumour for that for a couple of years, I think, now.
Well, I think it takes some time to develop it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the 2nd season branched a bit more than the first one did, so maybe it's branching even more.
Yeah, because the first one was reasonably on rails. There's a couple of spurs, but they came back and formed in. Obviously, Alberto knows, but I suspect the second one's a bit more branching.
Is a real question for everyone, really. Are people still excited for Legacy games?
That's a good question.
Because...
No, for C of no.
Shaking heads and nodding heads, okay.
Because Pandemic Legacy came out and everyone was really excited for Legacy games, and then there was Seafall, which I saw for sale for like £10 on a store. Yeah, having it.
For 10 quid, yeah.
So, but are people actually still excited for new ones coming out, or is it kind of like, nah, seen it, done it? Just looking at everyone's faces, it seems like no.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I mean, are there any others actually planned? I'm not aware of any.
There was a few announced that never came out.
Yeah.
There was one I was following. I think it was Rob Daviau was involved in it. I think it was called Chronicle Origins, and I made a big deal about it coming out in one Essen one year, and apparently it was demoed at Essen.
Right.
And then they said it would be kickstarted in 6 months, and that was supposed to be like a multi-season Legacy game. So it was supposed to be like, I think it was planned to be 3 different games, which all followed on from each other. So the decisions you made at the very beginning of the first game were going to affect all the way through. It just disappeared. No one's heard about it since. They showed a prototype of Essen, and then that was it. It just.
Probably the response this lot gave us.
I think Seafall happened, and everyone kind of went, "Oh, they're not a surefire hit that we were expecting." So.
There haven't actually been that many, though, have there? Because there's been the Pandalite games, there's been Charterstone, Gloomhaven, which is kind of a resettable campaign now. You've got the resettable stickers. Seafall.
There was. Oh God, what's the awful game of the Haunted House?
Oh, Betrayal Legacy.
Yeah.
Is it? Ah, Clank Legacy, yes, of course. Because Clank's quite good, like the base game of it. I mean, I've not played the card game of it, but I really enjoyed Clank.
How does Werewolf Legacy work?
I have no idea how to play it.
They did Manchikoro Legacy.
Really?
Yeah. That one came out, didn't it? I kept thinking,
that's a real game.
and no one's mentioned it since it came out.
Well, that's died a death then.
Yeah. Right then, chaps. We are at 5-2, so I think we need to cut it for the next people.
I think you're right.
So, thank you very much for coming along, everyone. We have, of course, been Polyhedron Collider. Enjoy the rest of Airecon.
Hey, guys. Do you have the outro music now?
Etc.